Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. Osemka posting this with regards to XRP. This one's for the XRP community, where I see some gurus preaching for the end of the cycle. Well, we are coming up close, but here's what Osemka has to say. Bros, it is hard to see the range as anything less than a long reaccumulation after November's surge. So when we take into consideration November 2024, when we did see that surge after the presidential election, then we were just ranging. Guys, we were ranging for a year, an entire calendar year. In Elliott wave terms, an ABC with a sharp ending in a C wave, very common, last shakeout or spring. He says there's basically no difference to this reaccumulation example on gold years ago. So on the right here, you guys can see gold. You guys can thank me later. And if you just take a look at this trend, the A, B, C correction, the C resulting in that big liquidation event that we saw. Same on the gold chart. We did see a big dip down lower than the former lows, that A and B. And now, guys, what he's suggesting is that there's going to be another huge pump to the upside on the XRP chart. So if we are to take this into consideration, I think this means that, he thinks that XRP has a promising next few months ahead. If we take a look at the XRP chart right now, and I'm just going to throw this on the hourly, you guys can see we are heading into some turmoil here. XRP is now coming back down, currently trading at about $2.53.9, so almost $2.54. But the good news is that this is also looking like it's also looking like an inverted head and shoulders pattern. Let me draw that again here. Hopefully we do see this come up. Hopefully we do break some levels of resistance. This is the XRP chart on the 30-minute, by the way. We do need to see this move to the upside. That is the shorter time frame. On the larger time frame, you guys can see XRP has already moved out of that head and shoulders pattern, the inverted head and shoulders pattern. I guess I should reiterate there. Has gone above this neckline. So again, this is the 4-hour chart, and now we are just retracing a little bit in there. Here, if I zoom in, you guys can see we are testing these levels in here. So former resistance is now becoming new support down and around here, and hopefully we can retest and make our way out of that. Luckily, we haven't seen too much more in terms of very negative selling pressure and more downside. Market cap is still holding. It is down a little bit today by 2.42%. Fear and greed, though, is still in the 30s. But, when you take a look at the last 24 hours here on the chart, everything is in red, but still by single digits only. We're not seeing, any kind of huge liquidations. Not anything similar to what we saw a few weeks ago. So that is positive news. We've also got Christian Chifoy here posting this. Okay, the Fed will end quantitative tightening in December. So I don't know how many of you caught this announcement here. Federal Reserve to end quantitative tightening on December the 1st. So right at the beginning of December, we got another month. I'm going to go back to his tweet, but first I wanted to read you this. The Federal Reserve announced that it will conclude the reduction of its aggregate securities holdings on December the 1st. The statement noted that available indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a moderate pace. Job gains have slowed this year, and the unemployment rate has edged up but remained low through August. More recent indicators are consistent with these developments. Inflation has moved up since earlier in the year and remains somewhat elevated. But they are planning to conclude quantitative tightening on December the 1st. And guys, this is critical. What this means is that maybe the cycle will be elongated. So back to Christian's tweet here. So everyone prepared for the real liquidity injections to start in December, right? While we are late in the cycle and everyone thinks the 4-year cycle is over, but quantitative easing or quantitative tightening were always narratives. Liquidity was starting to flood markets since October and December of 2022, if we think back to the last cycle when the tightening really ended. The RRP was the gate for that, but now liquidity is tightening again for 2026 while the cycle starts its reset. Our markers truly did a Picasso on us this cycle. So what he's suggesting, maybe we could leak into Q1 of 2026. So elongating that cycle just a little bit here. Let me just read you Gonti's tweet down here. Perfect setup for low caps to top in late January or early February, riding on the quantitative easing narrative thanks to majors in price discovery. They will start to overperform from much higher IVIs, and Christian here saying correct to that. So January, February, perhaps for some of these cryptocurrencies. Now we have an official date here from the Federal Reserve, so that's very good information for us to have as well. Dan here saying, guys, I've never felt more comfortable being a contrarian crypto bull. I'm seeing peak FUD on the exact day that we are getting interest rate cuts and announcements that QT ends in and around 1 month, and the Fed is going to start buying bonds. Altcoins been sideways for 1 year, which is why everyone is frustrated. No patience for gains. Everyone wants 20x now. Gold is topping. Solana is breaking ETF records. Tons of altcoin ETFs are on the way. Market structure coming in hot. $7 trillion sitting in money markets will need to find a new place to sit as yields start falling. Majority staring at yesterday's charts while the next phase is setting up right here, right now. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm doing my best to prepare for what is the possibility, but I wonder how risky it is to be a bear right now. So also another bullish comment here from Dan. Let's just bring up Bitcoin on the charts. This is Bitcoin, and as you guys can see, Bitcoin is also pulling down a little bit here. Bitcoin currently trading at 109, 109.2. Not having any luck staying above this trend line at the moment. But guys, that could change at the drop of a hat. We have gone below this trend line for that inverted head and shoulders pattern. Again, this is just the 4 hour. When we take a look at the 1 week, for example, and let me zoom in on that. 1 week still looks okay for Bitcoin price, guys. And we're still, today is only Thursday, October the 30th, if you guys are watching this video on the day that I'm releasing it. So higher lows on the weekly, higher highs on the weekly. The trend will hopefully continue to the upside. So is this the end of speculation, and will this bull run conclude with a real-world utility burst? Well, Black Swan Capital is posting this. Brad Garlinghouse was just sitting on a panel at the Future Investment Initiative recently, and he just reminded us that this is the end of the speculation age. So are we going to see an ushering in of XRP utility soon?
You're demonstrating that we don't have a global consensus about crypto. Even in this conversation, and I agree that it still is early, partly because there is not a global consensus about some of these things.
I agree.
And I think some of the use cases, we're still extremely early in terms of scaled use cases. Circle is certainly one example that has started to have a scaled use case around a stablecoin. But I think the crypto industry, I agree, the next 16 years, I think will be better than the last 16 years, because you'll finally see applications emerging that up until now have just been the store of value story or speculation.
So not firm on dates, but I think we see where this is going. Of course, Brad Garlinghouse recently did just tell us to all lock in that XRP is going to be at the center of everything that Ripple is building. If you guys didn't catch the video I did on that, I will link it up here in the top right-hand corner. I say that because the Wolf of All Streets did just recently come out on Twitter X asking, what is the pitch for XRP? Clearly, some of these people still don't understand. And it's amazing. I mean, it's remarkable. If you just paid attention and took some time to watch some XRP-related YouTube channels, you would understand where it's going. You would understand the real utility, and you wouldn't have to ask the community. What I find interesting, and I'm not going to read all these replies here, but what I find interesting is that he responds to the responses here that do not respond with too much detail. However, when you get to people like Matt Hamilton or King Solomon or Krypton Writer or Ripple Bullwinkle or Santiago Velez or Vet or Van Code, he stops responding because these are all very thoughtfully executed responses that he just cannot combat. So, I mean, the tweet thread's here if you guys want to read it. I don't feel like I need to go through it with you. But of course, I link everything in the description of the video. And I wanted to thank the Wolf of All Streets, everybody involved in this tweet thread, Black Swan Capitalist, of course, Dan here, Watcher Guru, Christian, and Osemka for just posting those. If you don't understand how Ripple is building an ecosystem, just look at the partnerships. Like this big one, Thunes. They just partnered up with Yellow Card to transform how businesses pay and get paid globally through stablecoin innovation. So guys, this is just another example. One of the most recent Ripple partnerships where a Ripple partner takes the reins, moves forward, forges ahead to initiate other partnerships with other companies. So Thunes, of course, a smart highway to move money around the world. And Yellow Card, one of the largest licensed stablecoin on and off-ramp orchestrators in emerging markets, today announced a strategic partnership. And so those are links. You guys can click on those if you're interested. I will link this in the description. Today they are collaborating to advance stablecoin adoption. So considering stablecoins are becoming more and more prevalent, we're going to see more and more of these types of partnerships. Thunes has famously years ago now enabled RippleNet technology for their back end. And so, guys, now they're partnering up with Yellow Card. And so Yellow Card's business customers they need to send money more efficiently when trading with international partners. And by leveraging Thunes' direct global network, businesses using Yellow Card can overcome long-standing bottlenecks in cross-border transactions, such as low settlement times and current volatility. So we're seeing that happening over the XRP out through Thunes. Another big partner is Flutterwave, guys. They've just raised $35 million to become WorldPay's first African partner. So Flutterwave uses RippleNet. WorldPay is also a Ripple partner. Just to give you guys some context here, Nigerian fintech app Flutterwave has raised $35 million, looking to expand beyond finance. The payment solution also announced a partnership with WorldPay's FIS for payments in Africa, becoming the first African partner for the global payment processing firm. According to this, Flutterwave will use the funding to invest in technology as well as grow the market share. First, the startup will now provide more solutions in sectors like education, travel, and gaming, aligning their business solutions with specific client needs. Besides, the new funds will help drive the expansion into Northern and Francophone Africa. So looking to expand into new regions of Africa as well. And guys, here's a quote. We don't just want to be a payment technology company. We have sector expertise around education, travel, gaming, e-commerce, fintech companies. They use our expertise, says the CEO of Flutterwave. So Flutterwave looking to expand beyond payments. That is, I think, a new innovative approach for this particular African fintech company. So great news there. Mr. Man also bringing this to our attention. You know the wave is coming when these bigger partners are partnering up that already do have connections to Ripple. Remember back in February, guys, Ripple did partner with Revolut and Zero Hash to expand RLUSD stablecoin access. RLUSD, the preeminent stablecoin for institutional grade payments. And guys, we also have Mastercard partnering with Ripple following the Genius Act for stablecoin clarity. And that happened back in July of 2025. Well, guys, now look at what we have. Mastercard and Zero Hash partnering up together. So Mastercard poised to acquire crypto startup Zero Hash for nearly $2 billion. This is an acquisition. They have their sights on another crypto company. The Payments Goliath said it's in late stage talks to acquire the crypto and stablecoin infrastructure startup Zero Hash for between 1.5 and 2 billion. That's billion with a B dollars, according to 5 sources familiar with the deal, who asked for anonymity to discuss private business discussions. It says here the deal may still fall through, but if closed, it would represent one of Mastercard's biggest bets on stablecoins or cryptocurrencies pegged to these underlying assets like the US dollar. So stablecoin innovation, obviously a big deal. Stablecoin adoption, obviously a big deal. And the big players are getting ready for just that. So wanted to thank Mr. Man and Black Swan Capitalist just for posting those. I also happen to see this, guys, from the Wrath of Kahneman. Now, when you start to realize that now cryptocurrency payments are going to be ubiquitous with purchasing, well, pretty much anything under the sun, we got to start somewhere. Precious metals are becoming one of those commodities that you can now start to purchase with cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and like XRP. Wrath of Kahneman mentioning this. So Swiss Bullion, this company here is embracing the digital future. Ripple and Ethereum now accepted for precious metal purchases. So guys, here it says you can buy gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They've expanded their payment methods to include cryptocurrencies, major cryptocurrencies, and they mention XRP and Ethereum specifically. This development reflects the company's focus on innovation and its mission to connect digital finance with the timeless value of physical bullion. They give a couple of definitions of each cryptocurrency. So Swiss Bullion already accepts Bitcoin, the world's most widely recognized cryptocurrency, which remains a cornerstone for digital asset investors. By adding XRP and Ethereum, the company now provides its clients with a diverse and modern range of crypto payment options. So very interesting. And I think I get the feeling that because these major players are realizing, okay, we can accept XRP, we can accept Ethereum, even if the prices are volatile today, that's not going to make a difference, several years down the road when we do see real world utility for some of these cryptocurrencies, when we do see real adoption for some of these cryptocurrencies. The price now, if we can accumulate at a relatively low price, under $10, let's just throw out a number there. Well, we're still up if we do start to accept the cryptocurrencies that we see as valuable in the coming years. Remember, it's not all cryptocurrencies. It's some of the top tier cryptocurrencies that they're accepting. Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and by top tier, I just mean, some of the cryptocurrencies that do, whether they have partnerships or have utility or have some kind of history. These are the cryptocurrencies that these companies are deciding to accept. So great news there. Wanted to thank the Wrath of Kahneman for posting that. Michael Branch, guys, also coming out with this great article. The CTO of Ripple, or former CTO, I guess, David Schwartz, is ending his tenure at Ripple by the end of the month, which is tomorrow. He confirms that the company can sell the rights to the locked XRP escrow. Now, this is big news for so many people in the XRP community because there have been debates about this. Can Ripple turn over the escrow to, and I mean, some people have been suggesting the IMF. More recently, people are suggesting the Federal Reserve. Ripple's chief technology officer, David Schwartz, has cleared up one of the most debated questions in the XRP community. Yes, Ripple can legally sell or transfer the rights to receive the XRP that's currently locked in escrow accounts. The clarification comes after a community debate on how circulating supply is calculated for cryptos. It started with Vincent Van Code, and he pointed out what he calls a double standard. He argued that if CoinMarketCap excluded Satoshi's presumed 1 million BTC, Bitcoin's total market cap would drop by about 15%. So using Bitcoin as that comparison. But guys, look at what David Schwartz responded here. Ripple could sell the right to receive the tokens released from escrow, or even sell the accounts the escrows compete into. But the XRP still can't circulate until their release dates. So the release dates are set, but they can transfer over the XRP. He has confirmed that Ripple is able to sell the rights to the XRP locked in escrow. This coming from All In Crypto. This means that while tokens are actually locked, Ripple can sell future claims to them. So could they in fact be setting something up with a major body like the IMF or the Federal Reserve? More recently, we've been talking about that. Ripple can enable the pre-selling of XRP that will be released later, allowing the firm to monetize future holdings without breaking escrow. Ripple holds 30 billion XRP in escrow, worth about $92 billion at the moment. These could be used in future treasury plans with companies such as Evernorth. So that's another interesting angle to this. Digital asset investor here also commenting the XRP Ripple controls in escrow has been used to beat them over the head by the entire crypto industry for a decade now. The ultimate power move would be to allow them to think that, and then one day let the world know that it is optioned by other institutions and or governments, literally gutting the Ripple is centralized argument in one announcement. Lock in, and he was just retweeting out David Schwartz's tweet there. And then the thoughts go even further. Digital perspectives with this. Now that pre-allocated option contracts for XRP escrow are confirmed by David Schwartz himself, think about this for a moment, okay? Was Evernorth created to house or to treasury all of the pre-allocated XRP option contract holders once the contracts are released to the holders? I think that's probably going a little too far. One giant liquidity pool. However, when you think about it, it does make sense. Who are the pre-allocated option contract holders? The G7, G20, US government nations with the largest economies. The list could go on and on, not even including the IMF in there. We just don't know. I mean, Ripple has been, continually been secretive about, for example, their NDAs. I still think there are a lot of secrets to be revealed, but that's just my opinion. And for more opinions on where I think this market's going to go, guys, you guys can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. It is only $5 a month. This is where I discuss all things crypto market related, my sell targets. I've opened up my portfolio, keeping completely transparent and letting my Patreon subscribers know where I'm going to be selling, and more thoughts with regards to this market. I mean, the fact that we could see this elongated market certainly does change the game. It is only $5 a month, but you do have to lock in and stay subscribed to maintain that $5 price point. I'm just also going to mention real quick that I have the Working Money Channel merch store, and thanks so much to everybody who has been supporting the channel by purchasing some Working Money Channel merch. Link is in the description of the video. Again, guys, this is all just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.